What innovations as a result of the Industrial Revolution affect the economic and social status of the middle class? The inventions of the cotton gin, steam engine, and Crompton's mule affected the economic and social status of the middle class by generating revenue and making the middle class more prominent. The cotton gin, created by Eli Whitney in 1794, is a machine designed to separate cotton seeds from the useful or sellable portion of the plant. Removing seeds from cotton is the most strenuous and time-consuming part of the process, which caused this invention to be very efficient in quickly generating revenue. The steam engine was patented by James Watt in 1789 and utilized steam with the reciprocating engine as a new source of power. This engine is powered by coal, which is what made it so powerful, but also caused great amounts of pollution. This is the reason the steam engine is not frequently used today. Crompton's mule, created by Samuel Crompton in 1779, is a machine that uses cotton to make thin, durable yarn to be used for clothing or in other industry settings. Crompton's mule was especially effective because it is a combination of two previous inventions. Prior to the invention of the cotton gin, cotton farmers experienced many hardships and financial struggles because of the time and extensive work required to harvest and make cotton into a useful form. It is probable that this is the reason cotton production initially was almost non-existent, as profit was nearly impossible to make. The cotton gin affected the economic status of the middle class by helping cotton to become a cash crop. A cash crop is a crop used for its commercial value rather than for use by the grower. Initially, only tobacco and indigo or blue dye were cash crops because they were harvested quickly, unlike cotton that took long times to grow, pick, and separate. However, after the invention of the gin, the process of harvesting cotton by separating seeds was sped up, and people were able to harvest cotton at a faster pace, thus generating more revenue. Previous to the invention of the steam engine, coal mining had to be done by workers. This process of mining coal from the earth is very dangerous, and often death occurs. As a result of using manpower to do this duty, less coal could be extracted, and thus less money could be generated. After the invention of the steam engine, coal could be extracted from the earth at an increasingly greater rate. Coal was a hot commodity because of the various uses it had. The steam engine providing this allowed for companies to run their factories and coal industries at a cheaper expense because they did not have to pay for labor. Instead, they could pay people to use the coal made using the steam-powered engine to produce products to sell commercially. Ultimately, this invention generated an increasing amount of income for the middle class as there are fewer expenses and more products to be made. Before the invention of Crompton's mule, factory workers had to use other machines such as the spinning jenny and water frame to produce yarn, but at a much slower rate. The ultimate effect of this was that the production of cloth was less because the time in order to produce yarn, which could then be turned into that cloth, took significantly longer. After the production of Crompton's mule, factory owners were able to increase their production and eventual margin of profit by a large amount. This is because, as a result of Crompton's mule being created, the cost of making yarn dropped by 90%. Also, the number of workers required to produce yarn was reduced by 80%. According to these statistics, for every 10 workers needed to produce yarn prior to the invention, only 1 was needed after the invention. This reduction in workers and cost means an increase in profit margin. The cost to make yarn became less, but the amount of production stayed the same or increased. The cotton gin also positively impacted the social status of the middle class by changing the way they produced goods. Initially, they produced goods for their own benefit. They only grew cotton to make clothing for their families. However, the cotton gin revolutionized this process by allowing the middle class to produce cotton commercially. Ultimately, this increase in profit allowed the middle class to have power in the social structure of industry. This also provided wealth, which basically translates to power. The newly gained power in the middle class allowed them to do things such as purchase slaves to harvest their cotton, build factories to utilize the cotton for production, etc. The steam engine affected the social status of the middle class by providing more opportunities. Having access to a new form of energy meant the middle class could focus on other jobs, not necessarily in factory settings. This is because the presence of artificial power, per se, could replace manpower. The middle class could focus on generating more money through developing more cash crops, or develop their community by pursuing new occupations such as teaching or building. This improvement in the social status of the middle class ultimately created a shift from factory occupations to more flexible occupation choices. The invention of Crompton's mule improved the social status of the middle class, similar to that of the steam engine. This is because, based on the previous statistics, with regards to 80% less people needed in factory production, citizens could focus their time on improving other areas of society, such as improving health, increasing population, or becoming entrepreneurs, such as Henry Ford, all of which could later develop the middle class in becoming more prominent in society. In conclusion, the inventions of the cotton gin, steam engine, and Crompton's mule affected the economic and social status of the middle class by generating revenue and making the middle class more affluent. This period of industrialization ultimately impacted our society today, as the middle class is considerably the most prominent.